Get ready with me as I share how I married my stalker. So it was the summer of 2012. I had just graduated high school, and in 2 weeks I was about to start college. Go Ohio State Buckeyes! I was working at a small restaurant, saving up money, getting ready for college. And one day I walk in and my boss meets me in the back and she says, "There's a guy out front at one of the booths named Josh, and he's been here for 2 hours and he'd like to meet you. I've interrogated him and I think you should go introduce yourself." I was so confused. I had a million questions like, who is this guy? How does he know my name? How does he know where I work? Why has he been here for 2 hours? And like, is this a joke? Before we move on, let's flip over to Josh's perspective. He had known this distant family friend of ours, like my parents' family friend, and they were like the kind of people, like if you see him in the store, like yeah, you're definitely gonna stop and say hi, but we never hung out with them. Like we really didn't know like a whole lot about them. And so they knew Josh, and they would play guitar together. Josh was in a little band, and one night they just decided, we need to set Josh up with somebody. Let's tell him about all the single girls that we know. So they tell him about me, and they also tell him that I play keyboard and the little restaurant that I work at. So Josh decides, I'm just gonna show up at that restaurant where she works at and ask for her. So he does. He shows up on that day and says, "Hey, is Aaron here?" And my boss goes, "No, how do you know Aaron?" And he said, "I don't." And she goes, "Wait, you're up here asking for Aaron and you don't even know her? Are you a stalker?" My boss is like a second mother to me. She's very protective over me. And so Josh starts explaining things to her. She makes him sit down to eat, and then she interrogates him for 2 hours to figure out what his deal is. Fast forward to when I get there. I'm confused after what my boss tells me in the back that this guy's out here waiting for me, but I just go out and I introduce myself, and he introduces himself. He says that he's in a little band, he plays guitar with the mutual like family friend, and he's just kind of like talking about the band and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, they need a keyboard player. That's why he's here. And so we continued to talk for a little bit, and he was nice enough, but then he was asking if I like wanted to hang out sometime, and my radar was still going off. Like this whole situation was still a little strange to me, and I was like, stranger danger. I don't know really much about him. Like I don't want to just whisk off into the sunset. And so I said, well, you could come to church sometime. So I gave him my church details and told him that he could come join me sometime. So he did. He came to our church, and he just kept on coming and never stopped. We got to know each other. I did give him my phone number, and I did hang out with him. We dated for 2.5 years, then we got married, and this year we are celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary. And so the running joke has always been, I married my stalker.